In this video, how to wash clay and seal.
Hi, I'm Ivan.
I'm Nick.
And this is DIY Detailing. Nick, we're gonna be doing a hybrid wash, clay, and seal.
But I have the foam cannon, Ivan. This is a foam cannon method.
You get to play with the foam cannon, but we also get to speed it up using this and ceramic gloss.
So the hybrid method, I don't even know what that means. Can we at least talk about what wash, clay, and seal means if folks are new to the channel?
So what will we be doing? We'll be foaming. So we do a foam, rinse, foam, or chemical, rinse, chemical, which means we apply the foam, we rinse, and then we would normally apply the foam again, but this time we're gonna apply rinseless wash to the surface, do our contact wash, and when we're done with the contact wash, we grab our decontamination towel, the perforated synthetic decontamination towel, with ceramic gloss, and at the same time that we're removing contamination, we're adding protection.
Why would I want the wash, clay, and seal, hybrid or not?
It's quick, it's efficient, it gives great results.
What are those results though? What does clay seal mean?
So
I'm just putting myself in your shoes, dear viewer. And
we're
forgive me for the question.
We're removing contamination from the surface. And your vehicle needs to be decontaminated once in a while, whether it's ceramic coated or not. This one isn't, but this one's also been through a car wash more than once. It has one of those little, I'm subscribed to the car wash stickers. So
it's a great deal.
We'll see how it looks. We're doing the wash, clay, and seal, but we may have to go a little further. But we don't know. It might be enough. If it's enough, we're good.
Ivan, let's get to work.
Yes.
Ivan has the Quiver foam cannon in his hand. I think we're gonna get great suds.
Nick, I suspect you mixed up the foam this morning.
Can you blame me?
Instead of the glug glug method, I think you did a glug 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 method.
It's the way to mix incredible suds, right? Glug glug per 32 ounces is our preferred ratio.
1 ounce.
You only need 1 ounce of incredible suds in your foam cannon. So I have a question folks out there might be afraid to ask.
Yes, sir.
Does how I wash the car change based on the color of the paint or the make and model of the vehicle?
Not at all. Every car deserves the best.
So what are we doing here then?
Well, we're putting the foam on. In 1 second, Nick, I just have a little section that I didn't put foam on. We're putting the foam on the surface. Once it's there, we're letting it work. We're letting it do what it needs to do, which is break down that dirt, emulsify it, and carry it off the surface gently. Then we'll be using the pressure washer to wash off, and you could use a garden hose, but we have an affection for our pressure washer here because we have this speed bump right here on the floor. And this stops the water from going to the drain that's right there. With using the pressure washer, we use about 20% of the water we do with a hose, meaning that we don't have to squeegee as much.
You'd think that a hose would be less water. I've seen it firsthand. It's way more water with the hose.
Yeah.
With this tip, Ivan, it's a little different than with the pressure washer foam cannon.
Yeah.
The foam cannon, you went ahead and sprayed on the car without doing any testing.
Yeah.
The tip is different.
Right. The tip, we always want to make sure that it's perfectly anchored into the pressure washer. And that's all you need, one quick little flash. And if it weren't anchored, let me show you what can happen.
Oh boy, stand out of the way.
It looks like it's anchored in, but
and it ended up under my shoe somehow. So
after bouncing off the wall, yeah.
It will go places you don't want it to go. Experienced detailers have this happen all the time. Use Ivan's method, spray away from the car onto the ground first, preferably at a wall or something.
If you have your wash bucket close by, just spray into the wash bucket. That works as well.
Okay.
That way, but then you have to dig around on the bottom of the wash bucket to find it, but at least you're not trying to dig a dent out of the car.
Yeah, the expensive whoopsies are what we're trying to hedge against at all times, right?
Exactly.
We're always trying to mitigate risk around vehicles. Some of them are nice, some of them not so nice. Either way, we want to improve the appearance without damaging the surface.
Exactly. And start rinsing. I like to rinse the roof first, always rinse down. There's an old saying that says you need to rinse from the bottom up. That was back in the day of extremely caustic chemicals that would actually cause streaking on the paint. So if you rinse from the top down, it would cause streaks on the paint. That's why you'll see some people rinsing from the bottom up. That's a holdover from more caustic times.
I'm glad our chemicals don't do that, Ivan. I want folks to notice your hose technique, right? You're not letting it flop on the paint, are you?
No, I always have another hand on.
Yeah, I noticed that. It was very safe. So because, again, whether it's a polisher cord or a pressure washer, you never want it by an accident to hit the paint and scratch.
Exactly. In this era of SUVs, crossovers, and pickup trucks, boy, is it nice to do a small sedan. No need for ladders, steps.
Sedan is going the way of the dodo bird and the dinosaur, Ivan.
Depends on the country. In the US, yes, but in some European countries, etc., they still love their sedans. I still like my sedans too. At this point, we can put the pressure washer away. We don't need it anymore because we're going the hybrid route and going to rinseless.
We often talk about car washing in simple terms: foam, rinse, foam. That's if you're using incredible suds from start to finish. But the same principles apply. You could do rinseless, chemical, rinse, chemical. Again, Ivan says hybrid, so we're foaming with incredible suds, then we rinse, and then we apply the rinseless wash to the surface. It's always great to do chemical, rinse, chemical, foam, rinse, foam, or foam, rinse, chemical. Ivan, I hope folks get the idea of why we're doing this, but maybe you could explain this next step for them.
So the why we're doing it is very simple. We're doing it to maximize the protection on the paint. We foamed, that got rid of the grit, and we could have just used the rinseless wash in the same way, but Nick likes to foam. He likes to see that foam, so we gave him the foam show that he wanted, and apparently you guys like it too.
I don't know if it's right or not, but I like seeing the foam cling and fall down the paint. It feels like it's getting into the nooks, the crannies, the places where the sun don't shine.
Yeah.
It's doing the work for me, and then we're flushing it off. To me, it's always the most thorough way is using incredible suds first.
Right. That's a feeling, it's not actual reality.
Sometimes I'm a feeling guy.
Yeah, the rinseless does the job as well. Now, you've seen us use kegs before, and some people complain that, wow, that keg's expensive. So you're gonna see us using different things once in a while. I picked this up at our local hardware store. This is a little battery operated sprayer. It was under $100, and let's see how it runs. So less pressure than the keg, but a good volume going on the paint. So it gets a good car cleaning seal of approval. Because in reality, all we are trying to do is just get it on the paint, and it's doing that very well.
This reminds me of a carpet cleaning sprayer I once bought when I owned a carpet cleaning business. And it was to get the pre-spray on the carpets before agitating. It didn't feel like a lot of pressure, but it was good, even volume everywhere.
Yeah, so this is giving me a nice even volume, which is great. Like you said, Nick, not a lot of pressure, and we don't need pressure at this stage. Now, someone that doesn't have a pressure washer, the keg might actually be a slightly better alternative, because if you do need to get that pressure, you can.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just helpful to have an inflator. If you don't have a pressure washer, you're probably in an apartment kind of situation, or if you don't have a hose. So some kind of, Amazon inflator you can get to inflate the keg is important.
And, if we play with the tip a little bit, we can get a stream out of it.
Okay, that helps.
Yeah.
If there's one thing about Ivan, he's always tweaking, experimenting. The R&D process, research and development, never ends.
No, definitely never ends.
You're always up to something. You got a new toy that you found. You watch all the YouTubers, so if there's someone else out there, you tap into the collective hive of what's everyone else doing? Maybe there's wisdom to be gained. Not only are you not trying to fall behind, you're also trying to think ahead. So some things you find on maybe Cars with Keys channel and you're like, this is good to apply rinseless. Other things you've discovered, Ivan, nothing gets by you.
No, and some things we've invented, like the legacy sponge. So the wash clay seal process is very easy. We wash. So I'm using the sponge here. And you can see how the water is just sitting on this, or the rinseless wash in this case, is just flat. So this probably does need a bit of decontamination. The wash clay seal process is very simple. I've put rinseless wash on the surface. That has taken the dirt off the surface. One spray on the towel, one spray on the surface. Where I sprayed on the surface is where I deposit the towel, and then I gently, without any pressure, move the decontamination towel around. And you see it's starting to pick up the contamination and open up the beading, making my life easier, making the paint look better.
Boy, do I love the smell of ceramic gloss in the garage, Ivan.
Yes, and then once we've applied the ceramic gloss, in this case, I would let it air dry just a little bit, but we don't want it drying completely, because if it dries completely, it sets up like concrete.
I think the hybrid wash method is becoming my favorite, Ivan, because I love Incredible Suds as a pre-treat.
Right.
But the precision of the rinseless wash, where I can see if I've hit the panel or not, is amazing. Sorry, I interrupted your flow, but I'm excited about the rinseless wash process. Over here, I was like, did I get this window? And it looks completely different from the window that I washed. So I'm like, nope, I didn't. Easy to see.
So there we go. It's been washed, clayed, and sealed. We're gonna do the rest of the vehicle and do our inspection. I just did the hood as a demonstration, but normally I'll wash the whole vehicle. Now, if you're working outside in direct sunlight, you actually will want to break the vehicle up into smaller sections, giving you the ability to work cleanly, safely, and not have to worry about the pesky little sunlight thing.
Do you buy into this idea, Ivan, if you're a professional detailer, that you need to put on a show with a foam cannon and suds if the client is watching you, for instance, in the driveway?
No, not at all. And if your customers, or actually it's never the customers, if the detailer thinks that seeing that foam cannon explosion and showing that to the customer is that important, next time you're washing a customer's car, take a look, see if they're even watching you. And if you do have a customer saying, no, I really miss that foam cannon, say, oh, if you'd like us to use a foam cannon, we can. It's an extra $50 for the wash because of the extra time that it takes. I doubt anybody would ever want to pay an extra $50 to see you putting foam on a car.
Does the sponge get into all the nooks and crannies that maybe a wash mitt can, Ivan?
Actually, it does, Nick.
Some might be skeptical.
Well, the legacy sponge has all these little slits on the surface, and they actually allow it to conform better to the surface of the vehicle, giving you what you need.
Can we talk about why we keep the perforated synthetic decontamination towel inside of our bucket of rinseless wash? It's dripping. It's full of a lubricated, polymer-rich rinseless wash.
Yep.
But why, Ivan?
Why? Better lubrication. You said it right there. We want to make sure that we're getting as much of the rinseless wash on the surface and into that towel. So if you've got a new towel, when you start your wash, put it in your wash bucket, let it sit there, and just become acclimatized to the rinseless wash, absorb it up, and enjoy it.
It's a nice process because you can enjoy instant satisfaction after you have quote unquote clayed the panel,
right,
or decontaminated with the ceramic gloss. Go ahead and dry it. Let some of that evaporate, and you'll notice a clean panel, and you can just move on. Well, it's a good thing ceramic gloss does what it does, but it does set up rather quickly.
Yeah.
It's a substantial product, right? It's not nothing.
No. So we're decontaminating, and when I get 1 or 2 panels done, that's when I'll start drying.
Pressure's never your friend, except I put a little pressure, just a little bit, on the windshield just to make sure if there's any bug guts, I'm not missing them. Otherwise, are we ever using pressure with the decon towel?
No. It will work better without any pressure.
You probably wouldn't advocate for the pressure on the windshield either, but I'm just saying.
No,
it's been known to happen.
Makes no difference whatsoever.
I want those bug guts to get demolished and removed.
Yeah, you're just wearing your towel out faster.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just not worried about scratching glass is the only thing. Technique is super important with this towel. No pressure, in force, and enjoy.
So because of the slowness that it's drying, I'm just keeping an eye on the sections I've done before, and when I see they start drying, then I'll go finish the drying, because you don't want to force Mother Nature, and going too fast or trying to dry too fast just means you're pushing water around.
I'm not hearing much on these surfaces, Ivan. What, for folks out there who are uninitiated, should they be listening for or feeling for when they're decontaminating or using this process?
It will sound scratchy, and it will feel scratchy in your towel. And if you have that, then you just keep going till it feels smooth.
Behind the front wheel is always a spot where you're getting a lot of contaminants embedded to the paint. So even without knowing they're there, I just give it a few extra passes because that tends to be a heavy contamination hotspot.
Yeah, and on the front door here, I could feel it and I could hear it.
Now, this doesn't look like our much loved drying blanket, Ivan. What is this purple contraption I have in my hand?
That's the Diva Rinseless towel from our friends at the House of Rags.
Depending on when you're watching this, our drying blanket's out of stock. So our friends at the House of Rags, as Ivan mentioned, have been generous enough to, yeah, we'll supply your towels.
Yep.
And we're gonna be partnering with them in the future, am I right?
Correct, yeah. So in order to increase our volume, we're partnering with them. Not only do we use the same warehouse, we found out that we actually use the same towel factory. So that was a happy little thing. We found that out at SEMA, and that has allowed us to partner with them. That way, instead of bringing over 2 or 3 containers of towel, we can bring over 4 or 5 containers of towels. And I'm looking at the front fender, it's still not drying yet, so.
I'm making a little bit extra work, Ivan. I'm making sure it's totally dry with my towel, where I could let Mother Nature do some of the drying for me.
Well, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I know, you're doing it more efficiently, and I'm like, I can't leave it sitting on the panel. I have to make it go away. So the job is complete in my head. So which method do you approve of, folks? Leave in the comments below. Would you dry as you go, or would you risk it all?
Well,
let it slightly evaporate.
Yeah, I'm not risking anything because I'm keeping an eye on it.
Okay. I don't trust my eye. If I don't do it now, I'm worried it's just gonna set up and I'm gonna have to reapply more ceramic gloss later, Ivan.
Yeah.
I know myself, and that comes with age.
Now, if it does set up too quickly, you missed a spot, just spray a bit of ceramic gloss back on the surface. It'll be fine. Now, Nick's got the Diva, I've got the drying blanket, just because it works for me.
Also, doesn't mean we don't have a couple in the studio, even if it's sold out. We've had these for a while, so I prefer the drying blanket. It's our baby, but the Diva is excellent. I love the efficiency built in. You're decontaminating, protecting it once, and then drying for that final wipe, and making a car go from dirty to shiny and protected pretty quick. Ivan, folks might wonder, do I decontaminate the plastics, the glass? Like, what's on or off limits with the decon towel and with ceramic gloss?
Everything is within limits on the outside of the vehicle.
That's exciting.
And plus, you want to spread the ceramic gloss everywhere.
Yep. How long does ceramic gloss last is a question we get all the time.
The proper answer to that is it depends.
Does it depend on whether it's decontaminated? Does it depend on whether it's polished first? Like,
Yes.
what amount of prep impacts the longevity?
Prep impacts longevity and where the vehicle is stored. Is it inside? Is it outside? Is it driven 5,000 miles a month, or is it driven 5,000 miles a year?
As much as I want folks to use our products, one of the bigger factors than whether you're washing perfectly with the right chemicals, and this is because I've done that and had my vehicle outside.
Yeah.
One of the biggest factors is, do you have a garage to store your vehicle in? Because we can do all the things, but it turns out nature is very powerful. The sun is powerful. The snow is powerful. Minerals, I don't know. It just feels like garaging your vehicle is one of the biggest gifts you could ever give it.
Yes. But not all of us have that capability.
Or luxury. So if you don't have a garage, how often should you wash your car? How do you fight back against the elements is I guess the question.
When you feel that it's dirty, wash it. Now, Nick, the astute viewers will have noticed that we haven't touched the wheels yet.
I didn't think that was part of this watch. I thought we could get away with just a quick wash clay seal.
No. Wash clay seal is done. Now we just need to clean the wheels and tires.
Did we mess up by not cleaning them when we had the foam cannon out and the pressure washer?
Well, we did use the foam cannon and the pressure washer on them, so we got the grit off the wheels. Now I've got rinseless wash in my wheel bucket. I'm just going to brush the wheels. They're still wet, so it's not a concern. If they weren't wet, I would just use that little sprayer and spray some on. I'm going around the face of the wheel first. The reason for the face first is when I go into the barrels, I inevitably will bring some form of grit to the surface. The little grit that I bring out on the surface from the barrel brush, I don't want to then be using my face brush to spread it everywhere and potentially scratch the face. Thankfully, these wheels are relatively clean, so I'm not bringing out a lot of gunk with my brush, but there is the odd little thing coming. Now, because of that grit that I pulled out from there, I'm going to rinse the face, just flushing the grit off the surface. And then I can protect and dry the wheel, but because of the speed that we're drying here today, I'll have time to clean the front wheel before coming back to the back wheel.
Ivan, I'm using the wheel and body brush, the green flag tip brush on wheels, but a lot of folks want a stiffer bristle brush. Is there a reason why you don't use that very often?
We have one in the bucket, and honestly, other than making a loud noise, it doesn't clean the tire that much better. Plus, a lot of people think they need to clean the tire to the point where there's no browning left. You need to clean the face of the tire, get the dirt off of it, and then from there, you're good. You don't need to get it back to black before putting your tire dressing on. When you're doing that, you're actually damaging your tire.
Ivan, what if I heard what you said and decide I don't like brown on my tires? I want it all gone.
Well, when you put the tire dressing on, it is all gone. But that fear or that overthinking that detailers do is actually damaging the tire. That browning is an anti-ozonant or antioxidant, depending on how you want to look at it, that helps protect your tire. When you wash too much of that off, you're actually damaging your tire. It needs that to last better.
I'm a big fan of ceramic gloss as a drying aid in every situation on the wheels as well. So we have our rinseless wash, dampened wheel. It's now clean as well. Ceramic gloss is just a great way to provide lubrication, protection for that final touch-up of the wheel, and you have confidence sending this wheel off into the wilderness, knowing that the jungle of the roads will do what it's going to do, but you have a protective barrier that smells nice, it's easy to use, and you can do this after every wash, Ivan, if you so choose.
You sure can. It's not a hard thing to do, and it actually makes drying your wheel a little faster and a little easier.
It really brightens up the wheels too.
Yeah, these anthracite or gray looking wheels, thankfully they're gloss and not matte. That's a personal opinion of mine. If you like matte wheels, great, but they're a little harder to maintain.
You of the loving black paint variety, I'm so surprised you don't like the black wheels.
No, I'm not a fan of black wheels, especially matte black wheels. But again, that's personal opinion.
How to best maintain black wheels? How do you clean them and protect them so they don't get all hazy and scratched up? They're such a pain.
Right, when they're brand new, very simple. Ceramic coat them before you do anything. Then from there, maintain them properly. And maintaining properly means not necessarily using that super caustic degreaser to spray on your wheels every time you clean them, because every time you do that, you're damaging your wheel. And you don't need to do that. If you're maintaining your wheels on a regular basis, there's no need to do that. The Incredible Suds, as you saw, with a bit of Rinseless wash, did a spectacular job on these wheels. That's all you really need. You want to treat your wheels like you do your paint. This is clear coated paint, just like this. So why would you use a different technique on your beautiful clear coated wheels than you would on your beautiful clear coated paint? Last part of any detail, Nick, tire dressing.
I believe you call it the cherry on the sundae?
The cherry on the sundae, the icing on the cake.
Yes.
We use this brush. It's a flag tip nylon brush. It is so spectacular for spreading the tire dressing on the tire. Our tire lotion looks really wet now. Give it about 5-10 minutes. It'll come to a nice, dry, not greasy, not slingy. It's gonna stay on the tire. Even though this tire was wet, it's gonna do the job.
We have a few color code things going on with DIY Detail. I'm just making this brush stuff up as I go. But the gold standard polish, it's gold. It's the gold standard. We have the gold waffle pad. That works very well in my head.
Yes.
We also have the green flag tip nylon brush, and I think green means go.
Right.
So green is like, it's a safe paint and wheel brush. It's a go, use it all the time. And then we have the salt and pepper, the black, that matches with the tires, Ivan. So it's very easy, very intuitive.
Yeah.
Use the black and white brush on your black tires. Are there any other tires colors besides black, Ivan?
We used to have white walls back in the day.
Back in the day, okay.
There probably still are some vehicles with white walls out there. I don't own any, but I have owned many.
Well, we're covered because it's a salt and pepper brush, so black and
Right.
white. So there you go. Haven't cleaned a white wall tire in a long time. Every once in a while, I'd get a classic car in the shop.
Yep.
A theme of this journey with you is, I'm excited, I'm feeling good, I'm ready to call it a day, and then Ivan's like, but wait, there's more.
Yeah. And
So I suspect you're up to something over here.
well, there is more. And the wash, clean, seal on a well-maintained vehicle is going to bring out gloss, which it has here. But if we bring out the Taskmaster, this little light, we see that this paint is really, really scratched up. And they're not deep scratches. They're from the car wash. And it has a little sticker on the windshield that says it can go through a car wash anytime it wants to. So I think, Nick, we're going to polish this car.
Polishing, huh? That sounds really intimidating to somebody who's never done it before. Is there a video you might recommend they watch if they're curious about how to polish?
Yes, but there's one last little thing I want to point out on this vehicle. Come up here.
But wait, there's more. There's always more.
Always more. So we'll notice the windshield looks nice and clean. There's this triangle here. And under the wiper, there's this accumulation. That is what happens when you go through a car wash, and after the car wash, you don't take a bit of ceramic gloss and a drying towel and go around. This is scum or residue from that car wash process. Same thing here. So this person, when they left the car wash, they'd instinctively put their wipers on for a second, cleaning this off and cleaning this off, but this little triangle is left here. And under this wiper, we have the same thing. And we washed under there, but we still have that deep, heavy scum there.
So polishing will help remove that as well.
Polishing will definitely help remove that. And we're not going to go for an intensive polish on this vehicle, but if you want to see an intensive polish.
Okay, so you want to show them how to deeply polish or start to polish?
Let's go for a deep polish on this one, because the next video with this car will be a how to get started polishing.
Okay, so the rabbit hole of polishing videos, that video is right here.